doggy in the window, the one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggy in the window? I do hope that doggy is for sale. I read in the with flashlights that shine in the dark.
This is a regular city council meeting of the City of Ocean Shores. It is May 14th, 2024, and the time is 6 p.m. This meeting is being held at the Ocean Shores Convention Center. The meetings are simulcast and archived on KOSW Radio. Meetings are live streamed with closed captioning and may be accessed on the city website under council recordings. The meeting can be viewed on cable channel 68 Thursdays at 12 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. Roll call.
Councilmember Sires.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Councilmember Grable.
Here.
Councilmember Klein.
Here.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
Councilmember Wells.
Here.
Councilmember Hartman.
Here.
All right. Tom, you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the meeting agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda. I'd like to amend the agenda to remove item 1 and replace it with executive session item number 14.
I second the motion.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we will move on to the next order of business, which is executive session. Council will be in executive session for 20 minutes. We'll try 20. Okay. Executive session will be to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation, which the agency, the governing body, or the member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party. Public knowledge regarding this discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency. That's RCW 42.30.110(1I). There will be council action. Oh, I didn't think there was council action, but that's what it says here. All right, no council action.
Life could be a dream. Life could be a dream. do, shaboom. Life could be a dream if I could take you up in paradise up above. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love, life could be a dream. Sweetheart, hello, hello again. Shaboom, and open we'll meet again. Boom, ding dong, ding dong,
All right, we're back and ready to keep moving here on this agenda. We have announcements, board and committee vacancies, 1 vacancy on the civil service, 2 vacancies on the planning commission, 3 vacancies on the library board of trustees, 1 vacancy on the park board. We do have an appointment today. I would like to appoint Vicki Cummings, and maybe I should do this one at a time. Vicki Cummings to the library board of trustees with council consensus.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Oh, okay.
Yes.
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 We have Becky Moore for the library board of trustees with council consensus.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you. Welcome them aboard. So next we have public comment. Public communication. The council is intended for communication to the city council regarding general council business or policy not on tonight's agenda. Address comments or questions to the city council body, not an individual member or to city staff. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We request that comments be nice and respectful. This is not a question and answer time, and the council cannot engage in conversation with the public. No one may use the public comment for the purpose of campaign or advertisement. The city council will begin the time once the citizen has started their public comment. At 2 minutes, you will see a green light followed by a yellow light indicating 30 seconds remain of your public comment period. The red light will notify you that your public comment time has ended. The order of the public comments will be first individuals attending in person, and second will be individuals attending remotely. General public comments, whether in person or remotely, will continue in the usual position on the agenda. All right, Scott.
All right, good evening. We have 3 in-person comments and 1 online. The first, Randolph Peck, survey.
The mic's not on, Randy. Hang on.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Max, push the button. Okay. In regards to the 90 versus 108-day survey, this is well-intentions gone wrong. It was neither scientific nor good methodology. Some letters had May 30th as a date to return it. Others didn't. There was no identifier on the ballot to prevent photocopying or stuffing the ballot boxes. Lillian has extra copies for anyone who wants an extra copy. Many don't use stamps and envelopes anymore. Class action cases, customer relations surveys, and many other inquiries use the internet, pre-addressed and stamped postcards, which cost less than letters to return, and drop boxes to get a larger return. This is something that even the state of Washington understands with the return to voter ballots. When asked if we could use the auditor's ballot box, we were told no. However, that's a simple ask of the auditor for the key. The box is right out in front of the police station. We were then told that you could use the water department drop box. We were also told that you could email your opinion. The issue with these options is none of them were offered in the body of the letter. Only comments and questions were solicited via email. Letters were sent to the name on the water bill or storm drain bill. Letters sent to renters as well as property owners. So some parcels get 2 votes. It's uncertain if owners of multiple lots got multiple letters. Were commercial properties also sent letters? Those properties are already forbidden from having camping on their parcels in the city, per our code. The letter says feedback. Is it a survey, poll, or vote? Some council members used the word vote in their comments during council when this was brought up. So will this be taken as a vote and acted upon as such? As it is currently drafted and executed, the chance of a valid quality and quantity of response is suspect. Thank you.
Jane Shattuck. Other reports and thank yous.
Jane Shattuck, Ocean Shores resident. Good evening, Mayor and Council. In April, dedicated volunteers generously gave over 160 hours of their time to care for the dogs at the city kennel. At one point, the kennel was nearly at capacity, making it challenging to provide each dog with the crucial socialization they require and deserve. The compassionate commitment of these amazing volunteers is invaluable in reducing the dog's stress and providing the socialization essential for their well-being. I extend a heartfelt thank you to each and every volunteer. And to help those volunteers and the dogs they care for, please consider fostering or adopting a dog. I would also like to remind all members of the community who own dogs to ensure that their pets wear a collar with contact information. If your dog has a microchip, please ensure it is registered. Taking this simple step enables officers to expedite the return of your pet to you, thereby preventing unnecessary or lengthy stays at the kennel. Additionally, it helps prevent the kennel from reaching full capacity, which can stress both the dogs and the volunteers caring for them. Thank yous. I want to thank the Friends of the Library for inviting me to speak about the challenges facing our city kennel and all shelters nationwide. I appreciate their dedication of educating the community about various issues impacting our community. Additionally, with immense gratitude, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to John Reed, whose dedication and talent shine through as he volunteers his time to share the meaningful stories of our community. John, you are truly special. Excuse me, you are truly special, and I cannot express enough gratitude for all that you do. Finally, I would like to express my gratitude to the mayor, the police chief, and the city clerk, along with the many others in those departments, for their recognition of the ever-evolving needs of the facility in this post-pandemic world, and for their efforts to accommodate these shifting requirements. From binders to whole paperwork to looking at policy or procedure change, I thank you all. And for anyone interested, Debo, my happy-go-lucky guy, actually is in a foster home as of today. So, yay.
Kim Nichols, but no topic.
Okay.
All right. Kim Nichols, Ocean Shores resident, speaking on behalf of the Community Engagement Committee. Thank you, Mayor Eldwin, esteemed council members, and all of our Ocean Shores neighbors. So what happens when the newly elected mayor of a small coastal town in Washington State decides to bring together 5 very different women to unite the community after an especially divisive couple of years? The Ocean Shores Community Engagement Committee happens. We call ourselves the Fabulous Five: Connie Clifford, Kristen Hartman, PJ Faria, Diane Griss, and me, Kim Nichols. Our mission, and we chose to accept it, uniting the hearts and minds of Ocean Shores through community events. If we can unite for a common goal, believe us, so can you. We started 2024 with renewed energy and commitment to the people who make this town so special, and we hope you'll share in that feeling. All summer long, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, we will have a Saturday city market, free Friday night movies or music, and yes, food trucks. We're already discussing some great event ideas for 2025, and we will be sure to keep you posted on Facebook and at future city council meetings. We would love for you to join us to keep Ocean Shores moving towards a positive future together. Find us on Facebook on OS Engaging Our Community. Thank you, and see you soon at upcoming events.
All right, and then lastly, we have one remote.
Hold on
comment.
one second. One
Sorry.
second. We're using our 3 minutes. Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, no. No, this is going to be real quick. Our city market starts on June 1st, and we still need vendors. Any of you out there Any of you growing big gardens? You got fruit, vegetables, anything going? We need vendors. Just contact any of us that are on the committee. Thank you. Now I'm done.
And I guess we jumped to got Allison. And now, item 4, public comment, Don Williams camping survey.
Yeah, are we on, okay?
I hear you perfectly.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank the council for moving ahead at your March 12th meeting with setting up the survey of to determine, or at least try to determine public support for extending the number of camping days on what you ended up calling semi-developed lots from 90 to 120. And the council was definitely about the time period. It was 120 days. There was no discussion of anything later than that. However, you did not discuss, how best to take the survey. And as the first speaker said, there's probably various ways to do it. But hopefully what we were going to have is at least some kind of an indication that reflects the opinion of specifically property owners. At least I believe that was the intent. And perhaps it could have been done differently, but at least we have a first step. And this is only an advisory survey. I think people called it an advisory vote, but it really has no bearing unless the city or the council wants to move ahead with something else. And maybe there's more work to be done. This has been a topic that's been coming to the city as long as I've been here, which is a lot of years. But however, when the results are presented, I hope you'll at least consider these particular items and present the results. First of all, how was the mail list developed? I don't know how it was developed, but I'd like to know what it was and what alternatives there could have been. And second of all, how many were sent out versus how many that were received back. And then 3, the number of parcels that are currently have no permitted dwelling on them, nothing at all. Because those are the ones that qualify for this particular improvement. And then of those parcels, how many are already meet the criteria of being semi-developed with the 3 utilities? And I think that would be a good start. And like I said before, there's lots of ways to do this, but I think it's probably a first step, and it is only advisory. It's not anything that's going to be forced to move ahead. So thank you very much.
All right, next we have staff reports. City administrator report is up first.
All right, good evening, council, mayor, and citizens. Now, this will be pretty short because I had a lengthy executive session to prepare for. Just a few things. We had the city revamp its entire phone system. It underwent a major upgrade. It required a lot of changes to our network infrastructure, but it is all online and working now. So all of our phones have been completely redone. The old phones no longer function. So far, it looks like it's a really good network system. It works great, but I'm still figuring out because unfortunately I was gone when they installed it. So a little work to do there. National Police Week. This is National Police Week, and it offers honor and remembrance and peer support to our law enforcement, our citizens that are dedicated to law enforcement and our staff. It began in 1962 when President John F. Kennedy signed a proclamation which designated May 15th as Police Officers Memorial Day, and that will be running for this throughout the course of this week. And is growing into a series of events that attract thousands of survivors and law enforcement officers to our nation's capital every year. So just between us as our community, we would like to give thanks to the Ocean Shores Police Department and all that they do when they put their lives on the line to make our community a safer and better place to live. And then lastly, on a personal note, the city administrator and human resources director were in Yakima last week. We were there from the 8th to the 10th for the Association of Washington Cities Labor Relations Institute Conference. The topics of discussion that we looked at were the collective bargaining and negotiations with public sector unions, a kind of interesting session on AI in the workplace and the do's and don'ts for human resources in using AI to make candidate evaluations, managing grievances and arbitration, and the ever-pressing topic, which is becoming more and more common in Washington state courts, navigating reasonable accommodations for employees, be it sick, pet, or anything else related. So that's, like I said, it's a pretty short one tonight, but that's what I've got, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Now we got council liaison reports and committee reports. And Richard, would you like to start?
Sure. So I've got a fairly short report. The only committee that has met since the last council meeting is the Parks Board. And the biggest thing on the Parks Board is they're going to start putting together the new parks equipment at Chinook and looking for volunteers starting at 9 o'clock on the 18th of this month. Is that correct, Kristen? Okay, I wanted to just make sure. So if you've got a few hours and maybe some tools, particularly some screw guns and impact guns, all of your help will be greatly appreciated. There's been a little bit of vandalism done in some of the parks, and that's sad. The only other thing that I think is important is the Parks Board has come out with an updated parks map. It's really comprehensive. It really shows everything. But how do we get it out into the hands of everybody who wants one? And the answer is the Parks Board is considering putting a QR sticker on the park sign. You take a photo of the QR sticker, and boom, that map is downloaded to your device, whether it's an Android or an iOS. And that will just make it easy to go and see all of, what do we have, 28 parks and 13 that are fully functional? I think that number's close to right. There's a lot of parks in the city, and we're not using them nearly as much as we could. So download the map, go visit a park. That's all I got. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Richard. Tom?
My two council liaison reports will be when we meet, which is a little bit later this month. So, but outside of that, everything looks like our city works are on top of a lot of stuff that they've been trying to do. The Saturday taken in and for the yard waste. Yeah, I'm sorry. Had a long week. Looks like it's getting settled pretty good. I don't think we're having any big dump trucks coming in. So outside of that, I'll bring up the new stuff after I have my next two meetings. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Rich?
I attended the capital facilities plan meeting with a few other council members with the vendor to help us learn how to manipulate some of the data to help us. Next step is to walk buildings so we can firm up the plan and agenda review.
Thanks. Lisa?
We haven't met for 3 weeks, so signed warrants several times. Agenda settings, also Public Works, I think meets tomorrow. Also Council of Governments meets tomorrow night, so I'll be, Thursday night, so I'll be attending that as well, and actually Thursday for Public Works. And then I was fortunate enough to attend a business development meeting, which was encouraging, and I hope to see more of those in the future.
Denise?
Like Lisa, I signed warrants for the past 3 weeks. I also attended the Capitol Facilities meeting with Rich, and after many hours, we were able to come up with a report format that we should be able to use in assessing the facilities. And I also took a tour of our Ocean Shores Fire Department. So thank you to Chief Ritter and Assistant Chief Mandela for your time and the informative tour, as well as the binder with their strategic plan and lots of other information.
Thanks, Denise. Allison?
I attended agenda setting, and Finance Committee will meet next week. Public Works is this week, and then I'll have a report. Our Ethics and Guidelines Committee had a meeting scheduled, but the meeting was canceled, so we'll be getting another one rescheduled soon.
Thanks. Lisa?
Thank you, Mayor. I checked in with our library staff, and they just wanted to remind everyone there is no library board meeting this month. Thank you.
All right, now on to the mayor's report. Tomorrow's town hall will be about fire and police preparation for the 4th of July, and that'll be at 6 p.m. here at the convention center. So please come and attend that and get informed on all the things that we are preparing for. And they've got a real good plan, and we've had good success here on 4th of July in the past. The Jeeps are coming to town Saturday for Jeeps Go Topless for Clean Shores. The city is expecting 1,000 Jeeps for a number of events. Starting off with 11 a.m., there's going to be a parade here in town with Jeeps, so there's going to be a long line for the parade for that. So looking forward to that. At noon is when they start the beach cleanup. And so that will be going on out on the beach. And then at 5 p.m., they have a bonfire and a concert out there off the Chancellomer. So if you want to get out there, if it's a nice day, go out and enjoy on that. Hang on just a second. Yeah, Nikki, you want to add something?
I'd just like to make everybody aware that the route that the Jeeps are taking for the parade is starting at Oi Hut, and they're going to be going up Duck Lake, and then on Chance, and then out the beach from there. So we're expecting at the minimum 600 Jeeps in that parade. So just be aware there's going to be breaks in between. So if you need to get through, you can get into those breaks. But just be aware it's going to be a long parade, and that's going to be the route that it's going to be taking.
Yeah, we talked to Joe at Too Cool, and I would like to thank him at Too Cool Sportswear for their involvement. He really made this event happen, and so we want to say thanks to him. But yeah, we had 600 and some signed up here. When did we meet? Monday? Yeah, on Monday, pre-signed up for this event. So he expected to have over 1,000 Jeeps there, which would be really a great deal. Okay, so going to the business development meeting we had yesterday, we had a really good turnout for that, and the purpose of the meeting was to hear from the businesses what the city could do to help them be more successful. And that was the whole point of that thing. There was 28 people in attendance, and we had lots of input, and ideas were shared amongst the different businesses. So it was a really good meeting, and it was a great start, and we'll be doing more of these so we can help our businesses be successful here. They're successful, we're all successful. All right, next is a consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, we have a public hearing, so we will recess the regular council meeting at, if I wait long enough, it'll be 7 o'clock, but 6:59, I guess, and convene into a public hearing. This public hearing before the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to hear public testimony for or against the proposed rezone of Division 10, Tax 2, Track 8 of Ocean Shores Plat, Volume 8, page 120, Sheet 3 of 4, 694 Point Brown Avenue Southeast, Ocean Shores, Washington, 98569, from a PR-1 recreational to a R1 residential. This will be presented by our city planner, Marshall Reed.
Thank you, Mayor, councilors, and citizens for being here tonight for our public hearing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize the staff report, starting out with an update. Councilors, in your packet, the updated staff report, starting on page 29, did not make it into the council packet, so I'm going to give you a few numbers that plug in there. The first correction that was made on the staff report is this is not a reasonable use exception request. This is a rezone request. And going down in the staff report, the lot size is not 260 square feet. That doesn't hardly even pass the common sense test. It was 18,413 square feet. And then we've got in the zoning, the south zoning quadrant of the property was R4, not R1. To the west is R4, not R1. And then when we get into the land use designation, the south side of that parcel is moderate density from the comp plan, and to the west is also moderate density. So those are corrections on page 29. And the staff analysis on page 30, we use a template from different hearings, and this one did not get updated. This indicates that the proposed development, which is a single-family residence, would be permitted in this zone. It would not be permitted or allowed in the PR1 zone. It would require a rezone to to R1 at a minimum. So those are the updates to the staff report, and then we'll go ahead and get into the body of the report. So I'm basically going to give you a summary of what the request is here. I'd like to introduce Jan Moore. He's the applicant for the request for the rezone. And in summary, in order to build a single-family residence on this parcel, which is zoned PR1, Public Recreational 1, it needs to be rezoned to a residential 1, which would allow the construction of a single-family residence. The parcel for location. So this is the parcel on the northeast corner of the Point Brown Avenue Bridge. The existing zoning on the lot is PR1, land use, parks and recreation, and it is in the shoreline jurisdiction. So we basically run through the code and determine that his proposal would not be allowed in the PR1 zone. And so the request before the council tonight is to rezone that to residential 1, which would allow for the construction of a single-family residence. The project, because it is in the shoreline jurisdiction, the current shoreline master program that was approved this year would apply to this property, as well as the Ocean Shores zoning ordinances, Title 17. So the conditions that, should you guys approve this tonight, the recommendation would be that this applicant comply with all building plans. Site design must meet the following: current international fire code, current international building code, the City of Ocean Shores Municipal Code, Title 17, the current shoreline master program, as well as all other applicable federal, state, and local laws. One of the things that we discovered as an exercise in going through this is that we have a conflict in our Ocean Shores Municipal Code, which refers the stormwater manual as the 2005 version. Our recently updated shoreline master program makes specific that we are going to use the most current shoreline, or the most current stormwater manual. And so that's the 2019 manual. So we will apply that based on comments from our Planning Commission meeting today. We will apply the 2019 stormwater manual in the development of this project. And then all utility construction must comply with the Ocean Shores Municipal Code. And let's see, we are going to get to back to my agenda. Oh, here it is. And so we've got that. And now for the end of the public hearing, we'd like to open this up for public comment if we've got any members of the public that would like to weigh in on this proposal.
Yes, Jan. No.
Now am I on? Thank you. I'm not opposed to anyone building. What, if it was zoned R4, question 1, what would have been allowed next to this property if each side was zoned R4? If the acreage there is 18,400, is there only one home planned? If they only build on one side, then can they build more on the other part of the property, I guess? So do we know what the plans look like that they're building for their residents. And being zoned R4 on either side, does that interfere with anything else that might want to go in there? Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments? Do we have anybody online that is wanting to make public comments tonight? No?
All right.
Okay, that'll conclude my report there.
All right, we will close the public hearing and reconvene the regular city council meeting at 7:13. So next up, we have old business, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, adopting the revised City of Ocean Shores Comprehensive Park and Recreational Plan update for 2024 through 2028, and this will be presented by Scott Anderson.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. This is actually a fairly simple ordinance considering all the work that went into creating our comprehensive park and recreational plan. Our 30-day comment period is passed. That ran from April 8th to May 8th. And so now we're looking at moving this forward and adopting it by ordinance. The current Parks and Rec plan will expire on June 1st of 2024, and we need the updated plan to be approved by the City Council in order for the Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office to be able, so the city is eligible for funds for RCO grants. This is an extremely lengthy park document, but the ordinance is fairly simple, but I don't know if Kristen Hartman wants to come up and speak to the park plan itself.
All right, good evening, Council. Mayor and citizens of Ocean Shores, my name is Kristen Hartman, and I'm here with Joshua Kabutza from AHBL to talk about the updates made to the Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Plan since the last council meeting. Public comment was open from April 8th through May 8th. A total of 14 comments from 11 members of the public were received. We had 3 comments regarding opportunities for older age groups, 4 comments on accessibility, 11 on park and recreation upgrades, 1 on goals and objectives, 3 on demographics, 2 on road improvements, 2 grammatical comments, 1 public input, and 1 on environmental. 2 of the public comments suggested development of undeveloped parks, open space areas. The plan update in Chapter 7, which is the plan implementation chapter, includes recommendations for upgrades that should be made to undeveloped parks, open space areas. 1 comment suggested upgrades needed at Oyhut State Park, which is not maintained by the city and therefore does not include recommendations within the plan. Many of the public comments suggested the need for recreational opportunities that are in alignment with the City of Ocean Shores demographics. Chapter 2, the city profile, provides demographic information, and Chapter 3, the public outreach, analyzes the survey results in comparison to the context of Ocean Shores' existing population and demographics. Based on these results, recommendations were made in Chapter 7, Plan Implementation. Additionally, the plan update includes Chapter 4, Goals and Objectives, which provides objectives relating to recreational programs. Specifically, Objective 4.3 states, consider options for additional recreational programs desired by the community through further input and research. The draft plan also includes goals and objectives related to additional topics that were addressed in public comments, including objectives related to accessibility, development of indoor recreational facilities, and future development of recreational programs desired by the community. 1 public comment requested confirmation on the race demographic data provided in Chapter 2, City Profile. The race and ethnicity data was taken from the U.S. Census Bureau in the 2022 ACS 5-year estimate. The census data indicates a 0.0% Black or African American population, which does not necessarily mean 0 people, but census data is rounded to the nearest 10th place. Race and ethnicity data has been verified for accuracy. 2 public comments that were received corrected the characterization of the Ocean Shores Community Club member system that was described in Chapter 2 from an HOA system to a more accurate characterization of the system, which is a restrictive covenant lien on title. During the City Council meeting on April 23rd, a verbal public comment was received regarding the conservation easement on the Weatherwax Trail. The commenter stated that the city cannot develop or advertise the trail per the easement, and therefore any mention of the trail should be removed from the plan. An additional comment was received stating that the Weatherwax Trail has been placed in trust and public access is limited to the designated trail. The comment also stated that all restrictions on the trail shall be published if the trail is included in the plan. Staff has reviewed the Weatherwax conservation easement and has confirmed that the 2024 City of Ocean Shores Comprehensive Parks and Recreational Plan complies with all the requirements of the conservation easement. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, questions or discussion? Oh, sorry, I skipped it. Public comment, please. Yes, Lillian.
I think in general, the Parks Comprehensive Plan is an excellent document, with one exception, and I will stand by that exception, and that is that the Weatherwax should not be included. You have 2 people in this town now, maybe 3, Lisa has some memory of it, that were actively involved in the banking process. And I realize that the word recreation was put into the document. If you look at any other banking instrument, you will not see it. And the reason you won't is because there is not another wetlands bank in the state of Washington that allows public access. If you look at the banks, and I've looked at most of them recently, they are not included in the parks plans for those cities or counties which they are in. Now, how did it get there in the first place? Guilty. I had intended tonight to bring some large poster board that was used many years ago in a presentation, but it's in an upstairs bedroom and I was incapable of getting it in here by myself tonight. I would make that available to anybody who wants to see it. Originally, we were part of the Open Space Committee. The first meeting of that was in my house. We looked at ways and tried to take everything into consideration and came up with a beautiful parks plan for the Weatherwax. And the council said, you have to pay for it. Well, we got that plan. We got mention of the Weatherwax put in the parks comp plan so that we could apply for grants. What we didn't understand, and the reason we couldn't get any grants for it in that cycle of park planning, was that we had way in excess of the number of acres for the size of our town already devoted to parks. Now, our bad, Crystal's bad, we didn't get it taken out of the parks plan. It absolutely does not belong in there. The word recreation was put in to allow those existing trails. We had to decommission 4 or 5 trails. And all of the trespassing signs, which many are down now, had to be put up to keep people on the trails. If in any way we impact the preservation quality of the land, then the trust can take over and we can be shut out. And that was verbally made very, very clear to us. And I'm sorry that you weren't all party to that, but I was, Marlene was, and she put in her public comments.
We have any other public comments? Any online? All right. Now we can go to council questions and discussion. Yes, Richard.
So this was touched on, and my concern is, does the increased acreage of the Weatherwax Park affect our ability for an RCO grant? And do we know the answer to that? Kristen, you probably do. I don't know.
It doesn't. So no. So where it's in the plan, it's just stating that we have this trail, this acreage. There's no plan for us to ever improve that. That's very clear in the mitigation bank and the Weatherwax trust that you cannot improve this. I mean, how they can take a tree down that's over a trail, it's very clear. It's very limited on what they can do there. And it's in our plan that we're never going to improve that. But what that does allow being in the plan is if at some point that there needs to be some kind of, Josh, help me out, I'm losing that word, not improvement, but if there needs to be funds that need to be available to
maintenance.
Maintenance, thank you. That was the word, maintenance, that we can then go for grants. That's the reason it's in there. But the city has no future to ever touch that. It's just, it's there, it's in the city, it's city owned. It is city owned. So I know it's confusing and I understand that, but that's why we provided you with the Weatherwax trust information. We went through the MBI, the mitigation bank, several of us did. And I've asked Lillian several times and I asked Marlene, please tell us where it says in that trust that we cannot do this. And it's not in there. It doesn't say that. As Lillian said, it was the intent. So we've kept it.
All right. Anybody else? Yes, Lisa.
I just want to thank the Parks Board and the city for the work that they did on this. I really admired the work that you did and also how you worked really hard at getting community input, not just getting the input, but you took that input and made changes to the plan. And that doesn't often happen. It wasn't just lip service to input. You really were thoughtful and reflective and made changes. However, I do feel that I have a great deal of respect for the historical memory and institutional knowledge around the Weatherwax. So I don't support having the Weatherwax in the parks plan, but really great job.
Anybody else? Allison?
So from what I hear you saying is the Weatherwax is just listed as an amenity, an outdoor spot for people to use. It's not, there's no plan to change anything to it, do anything to it. It's just part of our list of parks and things available for people.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's not even on our park map. Okay. The Weatherwax property is, but it doesn't say there's a trail.
Okay, thank you.
Scott.
Yeah, so no, I took Lillian's comments very seriously and Marlene Penry's. So and I'm not saying that they're wrong per se, because I don't know what happened in oral discussions.
Right.
But I pulled everything possible and read it for the legality of this.
Right.
That includes the Weatherwax legal description. It includes the memo of understanding between the City of Ocean Shores and the Chehalis River Land Trust, who I actually tried to call today to confirm all this just officially, but they have not gotten back to me yet. But I think the most interesting of the documents that was not included, if you see the document that was included and put up on the website, it clearly discusses the recreational aspect of the trail and the road and the trail maintenance. So they're clearly anticipating a trail. But on the very cover of the City of Ocean Shores Weatherwax Agreement and Habitat Bank for the Mitigation Bank instrument that was done with the Army Corps of Engineers, the lead picture is the trail. The Weatherwax Trail for Ocean Shores, and that is how we're actually advertising it. And it has Weatherwax property trail ahead, and there's a visual image of the trail of itself in the document. So clearly, it is meant for recreational purposes. Now, would we expand on that trail, the no trespassing signs that she talks about? Yeah, we don't want people just wandering anywhere in the bank. Clearly, that's the case. And that's why there's no trespassing. But the trail is clearly laid out. The city's public works department takes care of it if trees come down or there's major improvements that need to be made as a result of landslides or mud. So the city uses that as well as an instrument. So I don't see why it wouldn't be in the comprehensive park plan. It is an amenity. It's available to the public in Ocean Shores, and a lot of people use it.
Lisa?
Yeah, I actually support the use in the comp plan purely because I know that grants change all the time, but in order to be, if we ever had a point where we needed to maintain maybe something huge happened that the city didn't have the funds to do, by having it mentioned in the comp plan, we would be eligible for the Office of Outdoor Recreation and Conservation. And I think that's really important. It does change through the years. The second thing that I've noticed too, especially over the course of the last 10 years, is the state has encouraged when you do have mitigation, wetland mitigation, I'm not specifically talking about banks, they do encourage opportunities for public to look at that, see what it's like, what mitigation is like, what it can do for restoration projects. And I know a few even around in Grays Harbor that encourage and have trails that surround them so that the public can enjoy and see what true mitigation looks like. So, and I know that is encouraged because it's an educational opportunity. So I, for one, do support it staying in.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry, Denise, go ahead.
I agree with Lisa in including it in the plan. I also wanted to thank Scott for the additional documentation he sent us, including the MOU, because I think it gave a broader picture of our agreement with about the Weatherwax property. So I certainly think it should be included in the plan. And thanks, Kristen, for all the work that you've done.
Rich.
So, like Lisa and Denise, Kristen and the Parks Board has done a super job on this comp plan. It is superb. I listened to what Lillian has to say. I respect Lillian's historical knowledge and what she has to say and the intent. But I also heard what Scott Anderson said. And when I drive by the Weatherwax, there's always cars there. There's doggy poop bags there, and it is many people drive all the way out to the Hoh Forest to walk in a rainforest. And here we have our rainforest right smack in the middle of the city. And it's a short walk, but it is a popular walk. And when I have walked the trail, I don't see evidence of people abusing that trail. So I'm all in favor of passing this as it is and respect the city's intent to keep the Weatherwax as pure is the word that comes to mind. So I'm in favor of passing.
All right, Rich.
I want to acknowledge too what Lillian has said. I do respect the history and the words that were used in the past, but more so I respect what gets put in writing. And I agree that in this circumstance, we should keep it in the plan.
All right, any other questions or comments? Yes, Allison.
I would like to make a motion to approve an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, adopting the revised City of Ocean Shores Comprehensive Park and Recreational Plan, updated for 2024 through 2028.
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any more comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Sires,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Councilmember Griebel,
No.
Councilmember Klein,
Yes.
Councilmember Scott,
Yes.
Councilmember Hartman,
Yes.
Councilmember Wills.
Yes.
6 yeses, 1 no.
All right, we're now on to new business. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, amending the zoning classification of certain real property within Division 10, specifically Tax 2, Track 8, situated in the City of Ocean Shores from a PR-1 recreational to an R1 residential. This will be presented by Marshall Reed.
Thank you, Council. I'm just going to read the ordinance by title tonight, and this is for a first reading, and we'll open it up to public comment and council questions, and then possible council action at the conclusion. Tonight's ordinance is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, amending the classification of certain real property within Division 10, specifically Tax Lot 2, Tract H, situated in the City of Ocean Shores, from PR1 recreational to R1 residential. And that is the first reading. We'd like to open it up to public comment.
Do we have any public comment?
We have one online public comment. Don Williams?
Okay, are we on?
We are on.
Okay, thank you very much. I was at the Planning Commission meeting today where they had another public hearing before this one. And I spoke out in favor of the proposal. And there were a number of issues brought up by a member of the public, and I think the planner has addressed those, but I just want to make sure that all the questions that had to do with documentation and compliance with other rules and things that were discussed have been satisfied, and I think they are based upon what Marshall said. And I want to address the question of what's going to be on the property, and hope somebody will ask Marshall the question. The actual documents of the hearing and the process show a structure located on the property. It gives the location, the side setbacks for it. It shows where the driveway is. It also shows the dimensions, length and width of the footprint of that property. And I'm just wondering, I have a question, maybe somebody will ask, because a member of the public did a few minutes ago. Does that drawing go along with the approval of the rezoning in terms of what the project will be on that property? And that's my question, and I want to thank you for this. And like I said, I did speak in favor of it today, but I want to ask the question about the plot plan or the drawing that's included with the paperwork. Thank you.
All right, we have any other public comment? All right, council questions, discussion. Yes, Lisa?
Could you tell me what directly, the lot directly south of it, what is that zoned? And then do you know what's on that lot?
The lot directly south of it is sitting in the canal underneath the bridge, basically, and is just designated as water. So there's no development would be allowed on that parcel. We've actually got 3 parcels of the 4 that are very similar to the one that you're discussing here. Only one of those 4 are owned by the city, which boggles my mind. I think the city should own all 4 of those, being they're located squarely in the canal. I don't know how they got to be that way, but.
And then the one that's the next farthest, the next south one.
That was zoned R4, which is currently the site of a single-family residence.
Anybody? Yes, go ahead, Denise.
Yeah, given that the area is predominantly single-family, why was this zoned? What's the history of it being recreational instead of single-family?
I actually went back today trying to find out at what point that private recreational was transferred into private ownership. If you look around the city of Ocean Shores, most of these private recreational properties that are zoned are owned or were owned by the Ocean Shores Community Club. And I don't know if at some point they had what they determined to be surplus property and sold those to private citizens, or what the process was. I looked back today and went back to 2009 and couldn't find where it had changed ownership from either the city of Ocean Shores, where it was transferred out of the tract, or from the Ocean Shores Community Club. I'm not sure what the original owner was on that parcel.
Anybody else? Is there going to be council action? Oh,
Well, I'd like to make a motion.
all right.
And it's a first reading, but so I'll ask the question first. I can't see any reason not to pass this on a first reading. Can you give me some guidance, Marshall?
If we had some hanging chads on this thing that I needed to look up, I would say, yeah, bring it back for a second reading. But I don't know that any of my comments or research are going to, come up with any different data that would recommend other.
Thank you. So I make a motion to pass the ordinance of the City of Ocean, of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, amending the zoning classification of certain real property within Division 10, specifically Tax 2, Track H, situated in the City of Ocean Shores from Recreation 1 to Residential 1. That's my motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Is there any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you, Council.
thanks. Right, we have a resolution up next of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, authorizing the adoption of the Grays Harbor County Multi-Jurisdiction Hazard Mitigation Plan, and that will be presented by our Assistant Fire Chief, Mike Mandela.
I was gonna
Scott Anderson.
I was just gonna do the intro, but it's a very funny intro because as you see, this is another of those discussions where the resolution is one page, so all council sees is this one beautiful page. But if you look at the binders as to what actually goes into this, it's quite enormous. It took us an awful lot of work. We honestly could not have done it without Fire Chief Mandela or Deputy Chief Mandela. His help in this was vital. But this is an extremely important process that we have to go through every 5 years in order to obtain funding from FEMA when we have hazards, storms, or other emergencies. So I will turn it over to Mr. Mandela, and then we will be happy to answer questions.
Can you hear me? Thanks. Thanks, Scott. So you can see how large this book is, and it's almost, as you were talking about the parks plan, a lot of similarities. Very difficult work, very painstaking, but it does position the city to be in a good spot when the president authorizes a federal declaration under the Stafford Act that we can apply for and receive money from FEMA for either mitigation or disaster recovery should we have such a disaster. We cross our fingers that we don't, but as you know, we can't control the weather, and that's our primary enemy when it comes to this mitigation with soil erosion and windstorms, ice storms, and they do a lot of damage. Real good work by Marshall Reed, Chief Logan, and Deputy Chief Watson that were part of this group that worked on this for quite a long time. We worked with a consultant that was hired by Grays Harbor County from Bridgeview Consulting. She was very complimentary because the first rendition of this plan was very successful, and it was submitted to FEMA, and FEMA answered back without one single recommendation for any change, which is really unusual. So a lot of people did a lot of hard work throughout the entire county. Within this book, you'll see that it covers the entire county, every incorporated city, and all of an unincorporated county. And each of the jurisdictions have to adopt the plan by resolution before the plan could be actually formally adopted by FEMA and have us all be eligible for grants or for reimbursement for mitigation or recovery, as I mentioned before. So I'll leave it at that. If there's any comment, that's great. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer.
Do we have any public comment? Anybody online? No? Okay. Council.
So,
go ahead, Richard.
So I almost always read everything that comes before the council. I did not read all of this. I can't see any reason not to pass this because, as Chief has summarized, we need the mitigation plan. So I'd like to make a motion if nobody else has a comment.
I just want to say one thing. Great work. I know what goes into those plans, and that is incredible that no comment from FEMA. So a big congratulations to everybody involved with that.
Anybody else want to comment or question? All right, make your motion, Richard.
So I'd like to make a motion that we pass the resolution of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, authorizing the adoption of the Grays Harbor County Multi-Jurisdiction Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chief. All right, next we have a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, authorizing an interlocal agreement between Grays Harbor County and the City of Ocean Shores for public works projects. And that will be presented by Scott Anderson.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor. This is actually also fairly straightforward. Unlike the other two, which with Ms. Hartman and with Mr. Mandela did not require hundreds of hours, but it just required a few hours with the city attorney and I to go over this together. Our current agreement had expired somewhere when around the time Nick Bird left our public works department, and then we had an interim that was filled in with Robert Lund, and one didn't get passed to the other. But we are required to have this agreement in order for the Grays Harbor County to come out. They do our concrete bridge inspections on a biannual basis. Our timber bridge inspections are done differently, but it's the county that is responsible for keeping all of the data on our concrete bridges. And before I can call them out as Public Works Director and ask them to do this work and do a bridge inspection, we have to have this agreement in place. So that's really all this is the interlocal agreement that'll authorize the City of Ocean Shores and Grays Harbor County to work together on any public works process. It stipulates the conditions that the city will reimburse the county for all labor. And I anticipate absolutely no problems with this, but it's something that we need to get done in order to finalize our bridge inspections, which really has to be done this summer.
All right, do we have any public comment? All right, council. Yes, Richard.
I'm full of questions tonight. So as I read this, it seems that this has the potential to involve a lot more than just bridge inspections, and that's my concern. What other types of work would the county be involved in other than bridge inspections, and how's the accounting take place for that? How do we, the council, know what projects are being done and what we're spending money on?
Well, if it was a project or a public works project, obviously we would bring that before council if there's any kind of monetary ask in that process. So the only one that I know that we have to do is the bridge inspection. So when we do that, we'll come to council with that information. But let's say there was something in addition to that, because let's say we had a bridge collapse and the county had to be involved in that. Or let's say we had a major landslide that wiped out one of our roads, or the county had to be involved, or there was significant erosion. Then we would have the ability through this to call the county and ask them for assistance. So this agreement would be in place. But we wouldn't just start spending without confirming with the council that that's okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Lisa.
I'd like to go ahead and request approval authorizing the interlocal agreement between Grays Harbor County and the City of Ocean Shores for public works projects.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. We have a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to approve the Lodging Task Advisory Committee recommendations for the use of lodging taxes for 2024. And this will be presented by the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee Chair, Rich Hartman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, I come to you tonight to ask you to approve the recommendations for funding by your LTAC committee that consisted of Mary LeDuc, Shannon Rubin, Pat Brunstad, and George Lee. I feel that your committee members worked extra hard this year to be diligent in their research and conversations with each other on what they felt was the most important funding requests for the city this year for the overage that we had, and would like to ask if any of you have any questions about what maybe we went through during the process, or if everything's self-explanatory for you.
Well, first we'll have public comment. Do we have any public comment out there?
We have one online public comment from Don Williams.
Okay, how we doing?
We're doing great, Don. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say I attended the LTAC meetings, and I thought they were run quite a bit differently than, actually positively differently than previous ones, in that a lot of effort was made to examine the impact of the various projects on the real needs of the convention center, which ended up to be focusing more on during the week and on the off season, and not things like someone applying for one day on a weekend, which takes up the entire weekend. And I noticed at the end, both Rich Hartman and Shannon wanted to make sure that future LTACs do even more to focus on the needs. And one of the things has to do with actually getting hotel data on putting the heads into the beds. What was missing from all of this was this is the first LTAC that I've ever seen in many, many years where there's absolutely no information as to how how dollars came about. There's nothing in this report, and normally there's a whole page of showing what the balances was, expected revenues, expected expenses, and what's left over, and how that was made available for the LTAC to spend. That was not done this time, and one of the problems is that apparently a much higher amount of money was initially proposed for LTAC, and because of some discussion of downturns in hotel bookings, we ended up with $245,000. But how we got that, I have no idea. No one on the LTAC ever asked, and I don't think anybody on the council even knows. So that's kind of an obvious missing item. It's important also how we get the money. We actually pay once these 9 applicants, I think it's 8, receive funding. They get paid a lump sum in the early part of the year, or shortly after this council meeting tonight. And I always wonder what happens if they don't have some reason their project does not take place. How does the city claw back the money when they pay it as a one-time lump sum, as opposed to what I think the county does is pay it, authorize the payment, and they have to show receipts in order to get paid. So I think something about thinking about how we fund these things, and the issues of how do we make sure that the money is being used both properly and at all, needs to be addressed in future LTAC meetings. So those are my comments. Thank you.
All right, any other comment? Council? Yeah, Lisa.
I just want to say one thing. As someone that's ran 2 of the LTAC committees, great job. You by far put me to shame, and you really handled that well and did a really good job. And one of the things we'd heard through the years was to really get the input of stays and heads and beds, and kudos to you for doing that, because that's pretty great job.
Thank you. And Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
May I add to it?
Yes.
The dollars didn't come out of come out of thin air. We actually asked our finance department to give us an estimate on the amount of money that would be available. We then asked the finance department to be more conservative based on the downturn in some hotel occupancy rates. And the finance department came back with the number that we worked from, which was $245,000. So everything was brought to LTAC from the finance department. The LTAC committee itself was very conservative in what they suggested to council that you fund, because we continue to be very cognizant of the business level at the hotels. And we want to make sure that when it comes to fall, that you have the money necessary to do what you need to do, which is always the bigger ask. So, any other questions?
Right, any other questions or comments? Yes, Denise?
Just a comment and thank you to Rich for his private tutorial this afternoon on LTAC, as I am new to it. So thank you for answering all my questions.
Yes, Lisa.
Thanks again for your work. And it is disappointing that we can't fund all of the requests. I read through them and I thought all the requests had merit and great energy and excitement behind them. And I hope we can find a way to fund Wayfair signs, because that has been input we've had from visitors and our community members, the need for better signage in our town. So if it's not funded for this, I hope we can find a way to fund that somehow. And super excited about the Marketing Coalition. I think a great group of people behind that with a lot of experience, and I think that's going to truly make a difference.
All right, any other comments? We have council action? Yes, Allison.
I would like to make a motion to approve a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to approve the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee recommendation for use of lodging taxes for 2024.
Second.
We have a second. Any more comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now we have Agenda Review Committee, and that will be Council Member Scott, Griebel, and Wills. And so we have, for the good of the order, we'll start at the other end. Lisa.
Thanks again, everyone, for another great meeting. Appreciate that. A reminder that Sundays, 2:30 at the library, if you're interested in coming together and chatting and expressing ideas. I'm available on Sundays, 2:30, library, except for Memorial Weekend. Will not be there. Enjoy yourself.
Right, Allison.
Just a huge thank you to our police officers and members of our police department for all of the hard work that they put in. We really appreciate you.
Denise.
I wanted to congratulate again our new executive director of the Coastal Interpretive Center. There was a wonderful reception for him. Richard was there, and a lot of the community welcoming him and the new ideas and programs. Jane mentioned earlier, but I wanted to thank her for the informative presentation that she gave on the city kennel at the Friends of the Library. I think she had a record attendance of people coming to listen to her, and hopefully some of the forms that she gave out for volunteers will take hold.
Lisa.
Yeah, big thank you to staff at the convention center for the successful event this weekend, the chili cook-off. Just a lot of work goes into that, so thank you, and thank you to Jane and organizing the kennel volunteers. That is a tremendous amount of work, and the fact that it was 160 hours is pretty incredible and no small feat. There will be no council chats this May. We are going to look for a date in June. The problem we're running into is finding something either that's not town hall related or that the convention center is available. So I'll be sitting down with Sarah and George and find out available dates in June that will also work for whoever can show up. So it's been getting a little challenging. And then just a reminder, Clean Shores come out this weekend. It's going to be massive, and always appreciate people that come out and help clean our beaches because it does take a village. Thank you.
Rich.
I've got a couple of things. Wanted to remind everybody that the Parks Board is and the Parks Department is trying to assemble the playground equipment at Chinook Park, and they desperately need everybody to help on Saturday at 9 in the morning. I really appreciate the city business leaders and managers that came together to attend the mayor's meeting yesterday. One of the things that I heard them talk about was what all businesses are always trying to do, which is top of mind awareness. One particular business owner talked about being there for years, yet people didn't know they were there, even though they drive by their establishment. And with new signage, it made a difference for that business. But I will encourage those businesses, because you've got this community engagement committee that's putting on the weekly Saturday markets from now to Labor Day, that those same businesses can have a booth, can have space for very little, if any, money to attend these Saturday markets, to get their business names out in front of everybody. And it's what a great opportunity for all the businesses to have an additional location to help spread their top of mind awareness to the residents and visitors.
Tom.
Of course, dogs are close to my heart. So Jane, thank you for all the time you're spending with the dogs in this city. If you want to help, I got 3 that I need to be housed at my city. But no, that's a lot of activity and time and love for animals that are either missing a home or been taken away from a home because of something. So it takes a lot of hard work too. Thank you.
Richard.
So this meeting has been a fairly short meeting, which does not at all reflect the tremendous amount of work that has gone into all of the stuff that this meeting was about, all of the documentation, all of the staff work, all of the Parks Department and the Fire Department and all of the Marshals work on the rezone. We live in a fantastic community, and the people that make this community run are what make this community such a fantastic place to live and work in. So I want to thank all of the citizens and all of those departments and hard work that gets done. Thank you all for letting me live here.
All right, thanks. I have a good of the order comment to make, and I want to tell you that I am so proud of the HIAC track team. They won their 3rd championship in a row. I was fortunate enough to be able to coach there for 5 years. I can tell you that Pete Fry is an awesome coach. He's got a great program going, and that shows with 3 consecutive league championships. So go HIACs. Are we ready to adjourn? All right, we're adjourned.